The galaxy was vast, filled with stars, planets, and countless civilizations. Among them, Earth was considered small and unimportant. It was a pale blue dot in the endless expanse of space, orbiting an ordinary star. For centuries, humanity had watched silently as other species explored the cosmos, built mighty empires, and waged wars across the stars. Earth had no grand fleets or advanced weapons to show off. Instead, it chose to observe, to learn, and to wait. One day, the quiet ended. A fleet of ships appeared in Earth's orbit. They were enormous, their metallic surfaces gleaming like polished mirrors. The ships belonged to the Zarnok, a coalition of powerful alien species known for their strength and ruthlessness. Their leader, Commander Vrax, sent a message to Earth. It was short and direct. "Surrender your planet and its resources," it said. "Resistance is futile." On Earth, the news spread quickly. People looked up at the sky, feeling both fear and awe. In the United States, President Laura Hayes called an emergency meeting at the White House. Around the table sat her closest advisors, military leaders, and scientists. Among them was Dr. Samuel Carter, a physicist who had spent years studying alien technology. His work had been kept secret, even from most of the government. Also present was General Henry Doyle, a grizzled veteran who now led Earth's planetary defense forces. The room buzzed with tension. Some argued that Earth should surrender immediately. "We can't fight them," one advisor said. "They're too strong. If we resist, they'll destroy us." Others disagreed, insisting that humanity couldn't give up without a fight. "Running away won't save us," another voice countered. "If we show weakness, they'll walk all over us." Dr. Carter listened quietly, his mind racing. Finally, he spoke. "There's another option," he said, his voice calm but firm. He explained that Earth had been working on a secret project for years. It wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It didn't fire lasers or launch missiles. Instead, it was a device capable of creating a time dilation field. When activated, the field would slow down time within its radius. Anything caught inside would experience time much more slowly than the outside world. Essentially, it could trap the Zarnok fleet in a kind of temporal prison. The idea intrigued the group, but there was a catch. Activating the device required precise timing and careful planning. It couldn't be rushed. If they made a mistake, the Zarnok might detect it and destroy it before it could take effect. "We need patience," Carter emphasized. "Patience has always been our greatest asset. Let's use it now." While the meeting continued, a young communications officer named Emily Dawson was monitoring incoming signals from space. She worked in a dimly lit room filled with screens and blinking lights. Her job was to listen for anything unusual, messages, codes, or patterns that might reveal the Zarnok's intentions. As she sifted through the data, something caught her eye. Buried deep within layers of encrypted transmissions was a faint signal. At first she thought it was just noise, but the more she analyzed it, the clearer it became. It was a message. Emily called her colleague Daniel Brooks, a cryptographer known for his ability to crack even the most complex codes. Together, they worked to decode the transmission. Hours passed, and finally, they succeeded. The message came from someone named Kale, a scientist who claimed to be trapped aboard one of the Zarnok ships. He begged for help, saying he had vital information about the Zarnok's weaknesses. "They're not as strong as they seem," the message read. "Their empire is crumbling. If you strike the right places, you can bring them down." Emily and Daniel brought the decoded message to President Hayes. She listened carefully, weighing the risks and rewards. Trusting Kale could be dangerous. He might be lying, or worse, leading them into a trap. But ignoring him could mean missing a crucial opportunity. After some deliberation, Laura decided to delay Earth's response to the Zarnok. Instead of answering their demand for surrender, she ordered her team to gather more intelligence. Every second bought them time to prepare. Meanwhile, the Zarnok grew impatient. Commander Vrax had expected Earth to comply immediately. When no reply came, he sent out probes to scan the planet's surface. These probes detected strange energy signatures emanating from deep within Earth's crust. Vrax found this suspicious and ordered a small strike force to investigate. The attack came suddenly, targeting a remote research facility where parts of Project Eclipse were being assembled. The facility was destroyed in a matter of minutes. Flames engulfed the buildings and debris rained down on the surrounding area. Miraculously, Dr. Carter managed to salvage critical components thanks to the quick actions of Lieutenant William Grant, a soldier stationed nearby. Grant had noticed the incoming ships just moments before the attack and alerted the researchers. Though many lives were lost, the core of the project survived. Back at the White House, Laura faced mounting pressure. World leaders demanded answers. Some accused her of cowardice, claiming that Earth should have retaliated by now. Protesters gathered outside, holding signs that read, "Fight back and no surrender." But Laura remained steadfast. She reminded everyone that humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to endure, to adapt, and to act with purpose. "Patience is not weakness," she told her advisors. "It's strategy. We will prevail, but we must do so wisely." As days turned into weeks, Earth's scientists worked tirelessly to refine Project Eclipse. Meanwhile, Emily and Daniel continued their efforts to communicate with Kyle. They hoped to gain more insights into the Zarnok's vulnerabilities and perhaps find a way to turn the tide without resorting to full-scale war. The galaxy watched and waited, wondering what Earth's next move would be. In the shadows of space, the Zarnok fleet loomed, its massive ships casting long reflections on Earth's oceans. To the casual observer, it seemed as though humanity was cornered, outmatched, and doomed. But beneath the surface, plans were unfolding. Humanity was preparing to deliver a quiet warning to the galaxy's mightiest. Patience was never weakness. While Earth's leaders and scientists worked behind the scenes, the Zarnok fleet remained in orbit, its ships casting long shadows over the planet. Commander Vrax was growing restless. He had expected Earth to crumble under the weight of his demands. Instead, there was silence. No surrender, no counterattack, nothing. It was as if the humans were ignoring him, and that puzzled him more than anything else. On Earth, Dr. Samuel Carter and his team were racing against time. Project Eclipse, the device capable of creating a time dilation field, was still incomplete. The components salvaged from the destroyed research facility were crucial, but they needed more time to assemble everything properly. Every day brought new challenges, and every hour felt like an eternity. Yet Carter reminded himself that patience was key. Rushing would only lead to mistakes, and mistakes could mean disaster. Meanwhile, Emily Dawson and Daniel Brooks continued their efforts to decode Kale's messages. The scientist trapped aboard the Zarnok ship had proven to be a valuable source of information. Through careful analysis, they learned that the Zarnok Empire was not as stable as it appeared. Internal dissent was spreading among the coalition species. Some factions questioned Vrax's leadership, while others resented the resources being poured into the invasion of Earth. Kale also revealed that the Zarnok's supply lines were stretched thin across multiple star systems, leaving them vulnerable to targeted attacks. Emily and Daniel shared this intelligence with President Laura Hayes. She listened intently, her expression thoughtful. "If we can disrupt their supply lines," she said, "we might weaken them enough to give us an advantage." But there was a problem. Earth didn't have the means to launch such an attack. Its military was small and outdated compared to the Zarnok's advanced technology. Attacking directly would be suicide. Carter suggested a different approach. "What if we use deception?" he asked. "We could send false signals or create diversions to make them believe we're hitting one target when we're actually aiming for another." The idea intrigued Laura, and she gave the green light to develop a plan. As the days passed, tensions on Earth grew. The Zarnok began deploying more probes to scan the planet's surface. These probes detected unusual energy signatures emanating from deep within Earth's crust. Commander Vrax became suspicious and ordered a larger strike force to investigate. The attack came without warning, targeting another remote facility where parts of Project Eclipse were being assembled. This time, the destruction was even worse. Entire sections of the facility collapsed, and many researchers lost their lives. Lieutenant William Grant, who had helped save critical components during the first attack, once again played a key role. He led a small team of soldiers to secure what remained of the project. Under heavy fire, they managed to retrieve several important pieces before retreating to safety. Though battered and bruised, Grant refused to give up. He knew how much was at stake. Back at the White House, Laura faced mounting pressure from world leaders. Some accused her of incompetence, claiming that her strategy of delay was costing lives. Protesters gathered outside, holding signs that read, "Act now" and "Defend Earth." Laura understood their frustration, but she also knew that acting impulsively would only play into the Zarnok's hands. She addressed the nation, speaking calmly but firmly. "We are not weak," she said. "We are patient, and patience will lead us to victory." Her words resonated with some, but others remained skeptical. Among them was General Henry Doyle, who had grown increasingly frustrated with the lack of action. "We can't keep hiding," he argued during a private meeting with Laura. "Sooner or later, they'll find out what we're doing. When that happens, we need to be ready to fight." Laura agreed, but she insisted that fighting alone wouldn't be enough. They needed to outsmart the Zarnok, not just overpower them. With that in mind, she tasked Emily and Daniel with finding a way to communicate directly with Kyle. If they could establish a two-way line of communication, they might be able to coordinate their efforts more effectively. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. While analyzing Kale's latest transmission, Emily noticed a pattern in the signal. It wasn't random noise, it was a code. Working tirelessly, she and Daniel deciphered it and discovered instructions for establishing a secure channel. For the first time, they were able to send a message back to Kale. Kale's response was cautious but hopeful. He confirmed that he was indeed a scientist who had been imprisoned by the Zarnok after questioning their policies. He revealed that he had been secretly working to undermine them from within, planting seeds of doubt among their ranks. Now, he offered his assistance to Earth. "You have something I don't," he wrote. "Hope. Together we can end this tyranny." With Kale's help, Carter devised a bold plan. He proposed infiltrating the Zarnok flagship to disable their command structure. The mission would require stealth, precision, and trust in Kale's loyalty. It was risky, but if successful, it could cripple the Zarnok's ability to coordinate their forces. General Doyle handpicked a team for the operation. Lieutenant Grant volunteered immediately, eager to contribute after surviving two devastating attacks. Joining him was Dr. Rachel Monroe, a xenobiologist fluent in several alien languages. Her expertise would be invaluable in navigating the complexities of the Zarnok fleet. Also part of the team was Sergeant Michael Cole, a skilled engineer, tasked with disabling key systems aboard the ship. As the team prepared to launch, Carter briefed them on the mission's objectives. "Your goal is simple," he said. "Plant sabotage devices throughout the flagship and neutralize their leadership. Once you're inside, Kale will guide you to the most critical areas. But remember, stealth is your greatest ally. If they detect you, the mission will fail." The team listened carefully, knowing the stakes couldn't be higher. Failure meant not just their deaths, but potentially the downfall of Earth itself. Yet despite the danger, they remained determined. They had seen the devastation wrought by the Zarnok and understood what was at stake. On the designated day, the team boarded a small, cloaked shuttle designed to evade detection. As they approached the Zarnok flagship, their hearts raced with anticipation. The ship loomed ahead, its massive hull glinting ominously in the starlight. Guided by Kale's instructions, they slipped through a maintenance hatch and entered the vessel undetected. Inside, the air was thick with tension, with alien voices echoed through the corridors, and strange machinery hummed all around them. Following Kale's directions, the team moved quickly and quietly, planting sabotage devices at strategic points. Each step brought them closer to their objective, the command center. Dr. Monroe used her knowledge of alien languages to decipher signs and avoid patrols. Sergeant Cole worked methodically, disabling security systems and rerouting power to mask their presence. Lieutenant Grant kept watch, his weapon at the ready, prepared to defend his teammates at a moment's notice. Finally, they reached the command center. Inside, Commander Vrack stood surrounded by his officers, barking orders and demanding answers about Earth's silence. Unbeknownst to him, the trap was already set. The sabotage devices began activating, causing chaos throughout the ship. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and communication systems failed. In the confusion, Kale revealed his true identity. He stepped forward, confronting Vrax and exposing the cracks in the Zarnox Empire. "You've ruled through fear and oppression," Kale declared, his voice steady. "But your time is over. The galaxy will no longer bow to your tyranny." Vrax roared in fury, but it was too late. The damage had been done. The flagship was crippled, its engines dead, and its command structure in disarray. Outside, Earth activated Project Eclipse, enveloping the Zarnok fleet in a shimmering barrier. Time slowed to a crawl for those trapped inside, rendering them powerless. As the dust settled, humanity breathed a collective sigh of relief. Earth had delivered its quiet warning to the galaxy's mightiest. Patience was never weakness. The shimmering barrier of Project Eclipse surrounded the Zarnok fleet, trapping it in a temporal prison. From the outside, it looked like nothing had changed. The massive ships remained suspended in Earth's orbit, motionless and silent. But inside the time dilation field, time passed infinitely slower. For the Zarnok trapped within, every second felt like an eternity. They were powerless to move, communicate, or act. Commander Vrax watched in shock as his once mighty armada became immobilized. His plans for conquest had unraveled in an instant. Back on Earth, news of the victory spread quickly. People poured into the streets, celebrating the triumph over the galaxy's most feared species. Fireworks lit up the night. Sky and cheers echoed through cities around the world. For the first time in weeks, hope replaced fear. Yet, even as humanity rejoiced, President Laura Hayes reminded everyone that the fight wasn't truly over. "This is not just about us," she said during a televised address. "It's about standing up for all those who have suffered under the Zarnok's rule. We must ensure this never happens again." Dr. Samuel Carter stood quietly in the background as Laura spoke. He felt a mix of pride and unease. Project Eclipse had worked exactly as planned, but he couldn't shake the weight of what they had done. Trapping an entire fleet in a bubble of slowed time was no small feat, but it also raised questions. What would happen to the Zarnok now? Would they learn from their mistakes? Or would they seek revenge when, or if, they ever escaped? These thoughts weighed heavily on him. Meanwhile, Lieutenant William Grant and his team returned safely to Earth after completing their mission aboard the Zarnok flagship. Their infiltration had been critical to the operation's success. Without their sabotage efforts, the Zarnok might have detected and countered Project Eclipse before it could take effect. Though exhausted, Grant felt a sense of accomplishment. He had risked everything, and it had paid off. Still, he knew the cost of their victory. Lives had been lost, cities destroyed, and countless people traumatized by the invasion. Dr. Rachel Monroe, who had accompanied Grant on the mission, shared his feelings of relief and sorrow. She spent hours reviewing the data they had collected from the Zarnok ship. Among the files was evidence of atrocities committed across the galaxy. Entire planets stripped of resources, populations enslaved, and ecosystems devastated. It was clear that the Zarnok's empire was built on exploitation and cruelty. Rachel showed the findings to Carter, emphasizing the importance of sharing them with the galaxy. "If other civilizations see this," she said, "they'll understand why we did what we did." Carter agreed. He believed that exposing the Zarnok's crimes could unite others against them. However, he also knew that broadcasting such information carried risks. Some species might see Earth's actions as provocative rather than justified. Others might fear retaliation from the Zarnok and distance themselves. Despite these concerns, Carter decided to present the evidence to President Hayes. Together, they crafted a message to send to the stars, a declaration of Earth's intentions and a call for unity. While Carter worked on the message, Emily Dawson and Daniel Brooks focused on maintaining contact with Cale. The scientist had played a vital role in Earth's victory, and his knowledge of the Zarnok was invaluable. Through their secure channel, they learned more about the Coalition's internal struggles. Dissent among the Zarnok's member species was growing stronger. Many resented Commander Vrax's leadership and blamed him for the failed invasion. Some factions were already considering rebellion. Cale urged Earth to capitalize on this instability. "Strike while they're divided," he advised. "Show the galaxy that resistance is possible. If you act now, you can inspire others to rise. Up!" His words resonated with Laura, who saw an opportunity to dismantle the Zarnok's empire entirely. But she also recognized the dangers of overreach. Earth had achieved a remarkable victory, but it was still a young and inexperienced civilization. Pushing too far too fast could provoke another conflict. One Earth might not survive. To navigate this delicate situation, Laura assembled a council of advisors, including Carter, General Henry Doyle, and several world leaders. They debated how best to proceed. Some argued for immediate action, proposing strikes against key Zarnok outposts and supply lines. Others favored diplomacy, suggesting alliances with oppressed species to weaken the coalition from within. After much deliberation, Laura decided on a middle ground. Earth would send emissaries to nearby civilizations, offering aid and support to those willing to resist the Zarnok. At the same time, they would prepare for potential retaliation, strengthening Earth's defenses and refining Project Eclipse. As preparations continued, the galaxy began to take notice of Earth's rise. Embassies from distant worlds arrived, in orbit, seeking trade agreements and alliances. Representatives of oppressed species praised Earth for its courage and ingenuity. Among them was a delegation from the Terran, a peaceful species that had long suffered under Zarnok rule. Their leader, Ambassador Lyra, expressed gratitude for Earth's intervention. "You have given us hope," she said. "For centuries, we believed resistance was impossible. Now we see that even the mighty can fall." The arrival of alien ambassadors sparked both excitement and anxiety on Earth. Humanity had dreamed of making contact with extraterrestrial life for generations, but now that dream had become reality, and it came with responsibilities. Laura tasked Dr. Rachel Monroe with leading Earth's diplomatic efforts. Her expertise in xenobiology made her uniquely qualified to bridge the gap between humans and aliens. Working alongside Emily and Daniel, she helped establish communication protocols and cultural exchange programs. Despite the progress, tensions lingered. Not all species welcomed Earth's newfound prominence. Some viewed humanity as reckless upstarts, too inexperienced to wield power responsibly. Rumors spread of factions plotting to retaliate against Earth. General Doyle took these threats seriously, urging Laura to maintain a strong military presence. "We've made enemies," he warned, "and enemies don't forget." Laura understood the risks, but refused to let fear dictate her decisions. She believed that Earth's strength lay not in its weapons, but in its values, patience, resilience, and a commitment to justice. To demonstrate this, she ordered the construction of a monument in honor of those who had sacrificed their lives during the Zarnok invasion. Located near the United Nations headquarters, the monument featured inscriptions in multiple languages, including those of alien species. Its central message was simple yet profound. Together, we endure. As days turned into weeks, Earth settled into its new role as a galactic player. Scientists studied alien technologies recovered from the Zarnok fleet, while engineers worked to improve Earth's defenses. Artists and writers drew inspiration from the events, creating works that celebrated humanity's courage and ingenuity. Schools taught lessons about the invasion, ensuring future generations would remember the lessons learned. For Kale, life took a surprising turn. After helping Earth defeat the Zarnok, he chose to remain on the planet, seeking refuge from the chaos of his former life. He collaborated with Dr. Monroe to build bridges between humans and aliens, sharing his knowledge and experiences. Though haunted by memories of betrayal and loss, he found solace in the friendships he formed. Earth has shown me that there is still good in the universe, he told Monroe one evening. That gives me hope. Yet, even as Earth rebuilt and forged new alliances, challenges remained. The Zarnok fleet still hung in orbit, frozen in time. What to do with them was a question no one could answer easily. Some argued for destroying the ships outright, eliminating the threat once and for all. Others suggested keeping them trapped indefinitely, a reminder of the consequences of tyranny. Laura hesitated to make a decision, knowing that whatever choice she made would shape humanity's legacy in the galaxy. In the end, she opted for patience, not because she lacked resolve, but because she believed in giving the Zarnok a chance to reflect on their actions. Let them see what they've lost, she told her advisors. Maybe, just maybe, they'll learn something. As the sun set over Earth, casting golden light across its oceans and continents, humanity looked toward the stars with renewed determination. They had faced their greatest challenge and emerged victorious, not through brute force, but through wisdom and perseverance. The galaxy had underestimated Earth once, dismissing it as weak and insignificant. Now it knew better. Patience, as Laura had said, was never weakness. It was the quiet foundation upon which greatness could be built. Months passed since the Zarnok fleet had been trapped in Project Eclipse's time dilation field. Earth continued to rebuild and adapt to its new role in the galaxy. The initial joy of victory had settled into a sense of cautious optimism. Humanity knew it had achieved something remarkable, but it also understood that the galaxy was vast and unpredictable. The Zarnok weren't the only power out there, and their defeat might inspire others, both allies and enemies. Dr. Samuel Carter spent his days refining Project Eclipse. What had started as a desperate measure to defend Earth was now evolving into something more. Carter envisioned using the technology not just for defense, but for exploration. By creating smaller, controlled time dilation fields, humanity could study distant stars and planets without risking lives or resources. It was an ambitious idea, one that required years of research and testing, but Carter believed it was worth pursuing. He often worked late into the night, surrounded by blueprints and equations, driven by a mix of curiosity and responsibility. President Laura Hayes focused on diplomacy. Embassies from alien civilizations continued to arrive in Earth's orbit, each hoping to establish ties with humanity. Some sought trade agreements, while others looked for protection against the remnants of the Zarnok coalition. Laura welcomed them all, knowing that every alliance strengthened Earth's position. She tasked Dr. Rachel Monroe with leading these diplomatic efforts, trusting her ability to connect with different species. Monroe proved to be a natural diplomat, her calm demeanor and deep knowledge of alien cultures earning respect across the galaxy. Emily Dawson and Daniel Brooks remained, busy decoding signals and analyzing data. Their secure channel with Kale provided a steady stream of intelligence about the Zarnok's crumbling empire. Dissent among the Coalition's member species had grown into open rebellion in some regions. Entire star systems declared independence, severing ties with the Zarnok leadership. Emily and Daniel shared this information with President Hayes, who saw it as proof that Earth's actions had sparked a wave of change. Yet she also knew that revolutions were messy and unpredictable. The collapse of the Zarnok Empire could create power vacuums, leading to chaos and conflict. Lieutenant William Grant returned to civilian life after his mission aboard the Zarnok flagship. Though he no longer wore a uniform, he couldn't shake the memories of what he had seen and done. The destruction, the sacrifices, the weight of responsibility. It all stayed with him. At night, he often found himself staring at the stars, wondering if they were watching him too. To cope, he threw himself into community service, helping rebuild cities damaged during the invasion. His bravery and humility inspired those around him, and he became a symbol of resilience for many. Meanwhile, General Henry Doyle kept Earth's military on high alert. Despite the celebrations, he refused to let his guard down. "We've made enemies," he reminded Laura during one of their meetings, "and enemies don't forget." Doyle oversaw the construction of new defense systems, incorporating lessons learned from the Zarnok invasion. He also worked closely with Carter to integrate Project Eclipse into Earth's long-term strategy. Though the device had proven effective, Doyle insisted on developing backup plans. "We can't rely on one trick," he said. "If we do, we're setting ourselves up for failure." The Zarnok fleet remained in orbit, a constant reminder of Earth's victory and its challenges. Commander Vrax and his crew were frozen in time, unable to move or communicate. For some, their presence was comforting, a trophy of humanity's triumph. For others, it was unsettling, a question mark hanging over the future. What should be done with them? Destroying the ships outright seemed cruel, even to those who despised the Zarnok. Leaving them trapped indefinitely felt like a waste of potential. Laura wrestled with the decision, consulting her advisors and listening to public opinion. One evening, she visited the monument dedicated to those who had lost their lives during the invasion. Standing before the inscriptions in multiple languages, she reflected on the cost of victory. Every name etched into the stone represented a story, a family left behind, a dream unfulfilled. Laura felt the weight of leadership pressing down on her shoulders. Her choices would shape not just Earth's future, but the galaxy's. As she stood there, a thought came to her. Perhaps the answer lay not in punishment, but in redemption. The next day, Laura convened a meeting with her top advisors. "What if we offered the Zarnok a chance?" she asked. "Not freedom, not yet, but a path toward rehabilitation." Her proposal was met with skepticism. Some argued that the Zarnok didn't deserve mercy given their history of oppression and violence. Others worried that any leniency would be seen as weakness, but Laura persisted, explaining her reasoning. "We've shown the galaxy that we're strong," she said. "Now let's show them that we're also fair. If we can turn the Zarnok into allies instead of enemies, we'll have achieved something truly extraordinary." Her words resonated with Dr. Carter, who suggested using Project Eclipse as a tool for negotiation. By gradually reducing the time dilation field, Earth could demonstrate its willingness to engage while maintaining control. If the Zarnok cooperated, the field could be lifted entirely. If they resisted, it could be reinstated. It was a risky plan, but it offered a way forward. As Earth prepared to implement this strategy, news arrived from beyond the solar system. A coalition of rebel species had formed, calling themselves the Free Systems Alliance. They sought Earth's support in Mizam overthrowing the remnants of the Zarnok Empire. Ambassador Lyra of the Terran led the delegation, expressing gratitude for Earth's earlier intervention. "You showed us that resistance is possible," she said. "Now we ask you to stand with us as we finish what you started." Laura listened, carefully weighing the risks and rewards. Supporting the rebels could hasten the Zarnok's downfall, but it could also drag Earth into a prolonged conflict. After much deliberation, she decided to provide limited aid, technology, intelligence, and strategic advice, but stopped short of committing troops. "Our priority is protecting Earth," she explained. "But we will help where we can." The decision pleased both sides. The rebels appreciated Earth's support, while Laura's advisors praised her caution. Still, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Not everyone agreed with her approach. General Doyle, in particular, argued for a more aggressive stance. "If we don't strike now," he warned, "we'll regret it later." But Laura held firm, believing that patience and prudence were key to long-term success. Amid these developments, Kale continued to play a vital role. His insights into the Zarnok's inner workings proved invaluable, both for Earth's strategies and for the rebels' campaigns. He collaborated closely with Dr. Monroe, sharing his knowledge and experiences. Together, they drafted proposals for a post-Zarnok galaxy, envisioning a future based on cooperation rather than domination. Kale found purpose in this work, his past betrayals overshadowed by the hope of redemption. As the months turned into a year, Earth's influence in the galaxy grew. Trade routes opened, cultural exchanges flourished, and alliances strengthened. The planet that had once been dismissed as insignificant now stood as a beacon of hope for oppressed species. Yet, challenges remained. The Zarnok fleet still hung, in orbit a silent enigma. Rebel forces clashed with loyalists in distant star systems, and Earth itself grappled with the responsibilities of its newfound prominence. Despite these uncertainties, humanity pressed on. Driven by courage, ingenuity, and a commitment to justice, they forged ahead into the unknown. They had faced their greatest challenge and emerged victorious, not through brute force, but through wisdom and perseverance. The galaxy had underestimated Earth once, dismissing it as weak and insignificant. Now, it knew better. Patience, as Laura had said, was never weakness. It was the quiet foundation upon which greatness could be built. And so, under the watchful gaze of the stars, Earth took its place among the cosmos, not as a conqueror, but as a builder of bridges, a seeker of peace, and a defender of hope. Years passed since the Zarnok fleet had been trapped in Project Eclipse's time dilation field. Earth had grown stronger, wiser, and more connected to the galaxy. The once insignificant planet now stood as a symbol of resilience and hope for countless civilizations. But with newfound prominence came challenges that tested humanity's resolve. President Laura Hayes addressed the United Nations in a special session. Her hair was grayer than before, her face marked by years of leadership and difficult decisions. Yet her voice remained steady and clear. "We have come far," she began, looking at the gathered delegates from Earth and beyond. "But our journey is far from over. The galaxy is vast, and its problems are many. We must use what we have learned, not just in technology, but in patience and unity, to build a better future." The audience listened intently. Among them were Dr. Samuel Carter, General Henry Doyle, and Lieutenant William Grant. Each had played a vital role in Earth's rise, and each carried scars, physical and emotional, from the battles they had fought. Carter's mind drifted back to the early days of Project Eclipse, when the idea had seemed impossible. Now it was a cornerstone of Earth's defense and exploration efforts. He smiled faintly, proud of how far they had come. General Doyle sat stiffly, his military instincts still sharp despite the years. He had argued for a more aggressive approach during the rebellion against the Zarnok remnants, but Laura's cautious strategy had ultimately succeeded. The Free Systems Alliance, supported by Earth, had dismantled much of the Zarnok Empire. Rebel forces liberated oppressed planets, dismantling outposts and freeing enslaved species. Doyle respected the outcome, though he still believed in the value of decisive action. Lieutenant Grant felt a mix of pride and humility. His mission aboard the Zarnok flagship had become legendary, taught in schools across Earth and even mentioned in alien histories. Yet he avoided the spotlight, preferring to focus on rebuilding communities affected by the invasion. He often visited children orphaned by the war, sharing stories of courage and resilience. To him, this was the real legacy of their victory, not weapons or strategies, but the strength to endure and rebuild. Dr. Rachel Monroe continued her work bridging the gap between humans and aliens. She collaborated closely with Cale, who had become a trusted advisor to Earth's leaders. Together, they drafted proposals for a Galactic Council, a forum where all species could address shared challenges. Monroe believed that cooperation, not domination, was the key to lasting peace. "If we can learn to understand one another," she often said, "we can solve anything." Emily Dawson and Daniel Brooks remained at the forefront of Earth's intelligence efforts. Their secure channel with Cale had expanded into a network connecting Earth with allies across the galaxy. They intercepted messages, decoded signals, and provided critical information to both Earth's government and the Free Systems Alliance. Their work ensured that humanity stayed one step ahead of potential threats. As Earth's influence grew, so did its responsibilities. Trade routes flourished, bringing wealth and resources to the planet. Alien ambassadors established permanent embassies in orbit, fostering cultural exchange and collaboration. Artists, scientists, and philosophers from distant worlds visited Earth, eager to share their knowledge and learn from humanity. Schools taught lessons about the galaxy's history, emphasizing the importance of unity and compassion. Yet not everyone welcomed Earth's rise. Some species viewed humanity as arrogant upstarts, too inexperienced to wield power responsibly. Pirates and mercenaries preyed on trade routes, targeting ships carrying valuable goods. Rumors spread of factions plotting revenge against Earth for its role in the Zarnok's downfall. General Doyle kept Earth's military vigilant, ensuring that the planet was prepared for any threat. The Zarnok fleet remained in orbit, a silent reminder of Earth's victory and its unanswered questions. Laura Hayes revisited the issue frequently, consulting her advisors and listening to public opinion. After much deliberation, she decided to take a bold step. Using Project Eclipse, Earth reduced the time dilation field around the fleet, allowing Commander Vrax and his crew to experience time normally again. The Zarnok emerged cautiously, their massive ships hovering silently above Earth. Vrax sent a message, his tone subdued. "What do you want from us?" he asked. Laura responded with a proposal: reparations and reform. The Zarnok would dismantle their oppressive systems, compensate the species they had harmed, and commit to peaceful coexistence. In return, Earth would lift the time dilation field entirely and offer assistance in rebuilding their society. Vrax hesitated, but eventually agreed. The Zarnok Empire was already fractured, its resources depleted and its reputation tarnished. Resistance would only prolong their suffering. Slowly, painfully, the Zarnok began the process of change. It was not easy. Centuries of tyranny could not be undone overnight, but progress was visible. Former slaves became free citizens. Worlds devastated by exploitation began to heal. And the Zarnok themselves, humbled by defeat, started to question the values that had led them astray. Cale watched these changes with mixed emotions. He had once been part of the Zarnok coalition, a scientist celebrated for his brilliance. But his questioning of their policies had made him an enemy, leading to his imprisonment. Now he worked tirelessly to guide his people toward redemption. Change begins with understanding, he told Dr. Monroe one evening. If we can see the harm we've caused, we can begin to fix it. As the galaxy settled into a fragile peace, Earth turned its attention inward. Cities rebuilt after the Zarnok attacks thrived, their skylines dotted with monuments celebrating resilience and unity. Parks dedicated to fallen heroes offered spaces for reflection and healing. Schools emphasized lessons of empathy and cooperation, preparing future generations to lead with wisdom and compassion. Dr. Carter continued refining Project Eclipse, envisioning new applications for the technology. Instead of trapping enemies, he proposed using it to explore distant stars and planets safely. By creating small, controlled time dilation fields, humanity could study environments too dangerous or unstable for direct observation. It was an ambitious idea, one that required years of research and testing, but Carter believed it represented the next step in humanity's journey. Laura Hayes stepped down as president after serving 2 terms, leaving behind a legacy of courage and vision. Her final speech resonated deeply with those who heard it. "We have shown the galaxy that strength is not measured by weapons or conquest," she said. "It is measured by our ability to endure, to adapt, and to act with purpose. Let us carry this lesson forward, not just for ourselves, but for all who share this universe." Her words echoed across the galaxy, inspiring countless beings. Humanity, once dismissed as weak and insignificant, now stood as a beacon of hope. The events surrounding the Zarnok invasion had proven that patience was never weakness. It was the quiet foundation upon which greatness could be built. Under the watchful gaze of the stars, Earth took its place among the cosmos, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And so, the story of Earth's quiet warning to the galaxy's mightiest reached its conclusion, not with a bang, but with a whisper of hope, of unity, and of the enduring belief that even the smallest light could shine brightly in the darkest corners of the universe. Years after the Zarnok crisis, Earth continued to grow and evolve. The planet had transformed from a quiet observer in the galaxy to a leader among civilizations. Its actions during the conflict had not only secured its survival, but also inspired others to stand against oppression. Yet, even as humanity celebrated its achievements, it faced new challenges that tested its unity and resolve. Dr. Samuel Carter spent his days refining Project Eclipse, turning it into something far beyond its original purpose. What had started as a desperate measure to defend Earth had become a tool for exploration and discovery. Carter envisioned using time dilation fields to study distant stars, black holes, and other cosmic phenomena without risking human lives. He worked tirelessly, collaborating with scientists from across the galaxy to push the boundaries of what was possible. "If we can control time," he often said, "we can unlock the secrets of the universe." President Laura Hayes, though retired, remained an influential voice in global affairs. Her speeches and writings emphasized the importance of cooperation and patience. She believed that Earth's greatest strength lay not in its technology or military might, but in its values: compassion, resilience, and a commitment to justice. Many looked to her as a guiding figure, someone who had steered humanity through its darkest hour and emerged with wisdom. Lieutenant William Grant found peace in his civilian life, dedicating himself to helping those affected by the Zarnok invasion. He traveled to cities that had been destroyed, working alongside survivors to rebuild homes and communities. His presence brought comfort to many, reminding them that they were not alone. Though he rarely spoke of his mission aboard the Zarnok flagship, his bravery was celebrated in stories told around campfires and classrooms. To him, the real victory wasn't the defeat of the Zarnok, but the resilience of ordinary people who refused to give up. Dr. Rachel Monroe focused on fostering understanding between humans and aliens. With Cale's help, she organized cultural exchange programs, bringing together species from across the galaxy to share their traditions, art, and knowledge. These exchanges helped break down barriers and build trust. Monroe believed that true peace could only be achieved when people understood one another. "Fear comes from ignorance," she often said. "When we learn about each other, fear turns into friendship." Emily Dawson and Daniel Brooks remained at the heart of Earth's intelligence network. Their secure channel with Kale had expanded into a vast system connecting Earth with allies across the galaxy. They intercepted messages, decoded signals, and provided critical information to both Earth's government and the Free Systems Alliance. Their work ensured that humanity stayed one step ahead of potential threats. Though their jobs were demanding, they found fulfillment in knowing that their efforts contributed to the safety and prosperity of countless worlds. The Zarnok themselves were slowly rebuilding their society. Commander Vrax, once a symbol of tyranny, became a reluctant reformer. Under pressure from Earth and the Free Systems Alliance, he dismantled oppressive systems and began compensating the species his empire had harmed. It was a painful process, fraught with resistance and setbacks, but progress was visible. Former slaves became free citizens, and worlds devastated by exploitation began to heal. The Zarnok learned that change, though difficult, was necessary for survival. Kale played a vital role in this transformation. As a former insider turned critic, he understood the flaws of the Zarnok system better than anyone. He worked tirelessly to guide his people toward redemption, advocating for reforms that prioritized equality and justice. "We cannot undo the past," he often said, "but we can choose a better future." His words resonated with many, offering hope to a species struggling to rebuild its identity. As Earth thrived, so did its relationships with other civilizations. Trade routes flourished, bringing wealth and resources to the planet. Alien ambassadors established permanent embassies in orbit, fostering collaboration in science, art, and governance. Schools taught lessons about the galaxy's history, emphasizing the importance of unity and compassion. Humanity had become a respected member of the galactic community, admired for its courage and ingenuity. Yet, challenges remained. Pirates and mercenaries preyed on trade routes, targeting ships carrying valuable goods. Rumors spread of factions plotting revenge against Earth for its role in the Zarnok's downfall. General Henry Doyle kept Earth's military vigilant, ensuring that the planet was prepared for any threat. He argued for stronger defenses, believing that peace required the ability to protect oneself. "We've earned respect," he often said, "but respect must be backed by strength." In response to these threats, Earth invested in new defense systems. Dr. Carter's innovations, combined with General Doyle's strategic vision, created a formidable deterrent. Earth's orbital stations bristled with advanced weapons, while fleets of ships patrolled key star systems. At the same time, Earth emphasized diplomacy, seeking alliances with peaceful species to counterbalance hostile ones. This dual approach, strength, and cooperation, became the cornerstone of Earth's strategy. Amid these developments, a new challenge emerged. A mysterious signal was detected emanating from deep space. Emily and Daniel analyzed the transmission, finding patterns that suggested intelligent origin. The signal repeated a single phrase: "Join us." No one knew who or what was sending it, but its implications were clear. Somewhere in the galaxy, a powerful force was reaching out, inviting others to unite under its banner. President Laura Hayes convened a meeting to discuss the signal. "This could be an opportunity," she said, "or it could be a trap. Either way, we must proceed carefully." Dr. Carter suggested sending a probe to investigate, while General Doyle advocated for caution. "We don't know who's behind this," he warned. "It could be another empire looking to conquer." After much deliberation, Earth decided to send a delegation led by Dr. Monroe and Kale. Accompanied by Lieutenant Grant and a small team of scientists, they embarked on a journey into the unknown. Their mission was simple: make contact and assess the intentions of whoever had sent the signal. As their ship ventured deeper into space, they felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. They were stepping into uncharted territory, representing not just Earth but the entire galaxy. The journey took months, during which the team studied the signal and prepared for every possible scenario. They encountered strange phenomena: planets with impossible climates, stars that pulsed like heartbeats, and nebulae that shimmered with colors never seen before. Each discovery reminded them of the vastness and mystery of the universe. Finally, they reached the source of the signal, massive structure floating in the void. It resembled a city made of light, its towers glowing softly against the darkness. As they approached, a message appeared in their minds, bypassing language entirely. "Welcome," it said. "You have shown strength and wisdom. Will you join us?" Dr. Monroe stepped forward, her voice steady. "Who are you?" she asked. The structure responded, revealing itself to be a collective consciousness, a union of species that had transcended physical existence. They had watched Earth's rise and were impressed by its courage and compassion. "We invite you to join us," they said, "to share your knowledge and contribute to the greater good." The team debated the offer. Joining the collective meant leaving behind their physical forms, becoming part of something larger than themselves. It was a profound choice, one that carried both risks and rewards. Ultimately, they decided to decline, for now. "We appreciate your invitation," Dr. Monroe said, "but humanity has much to learn and achieve in our current form. Perhaps someday we will be ready." The collective accepted their decision graciously. "Then go forth," they said, "and continue your journey. When the time is right, we will meet again." With that, the structure vanished, leaving the team awestruck and humbled. As they returned to Earth, they reflected on what they had experienced. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but it was also unpredictable. Humanity had faced its greatest challenges and emerged victorious, not through brute force, but through wisdom and perseverance. The events surrounding the Zarnok invasion had proven that patience was never weakness. It was the quiet foundation upon which greatness could be built. Under the watchful gaze of the stars, Earth continued its journey, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And so, the story of Earth's quiet warning to the galaxy's mightiest reached another chapter, not with a bang, but with a whisper of hope, of unity, and of the enduring belief that even the smallest light could shine brightly in the darkest corners of the universe.